there was an obligation of Prahallad Maharaj that he got to attend this school and he got to hear all of these teachings. So he was fulfilling his obligations by attending the classes and all. But yet, in order to spiritualize his stay at the school, he used to find time in between to go and preach to his schoolmates. And this is how, in whichever profession we are into, whether we be students or whether we be working in corporates or whatever we are doing, if we were to spiritualize our if we were to spiritualize our stay or our workplace, then just as Prahallad Maharaj is doing, we should also be preaching whenever we get time. Whenever we get time, just like Prahallad Maharaj is finding time to preach to his colleagues, similarly we got to find time to preach to our colleagues. Whenever during lunch break or whatever time we get, immediately we should start preaching. This is how a devotee should be. And in the course of preaching, sometimes it may so happen that none may be interested. It may appear as if we are banging our heads against a wall. But still we should go on preaching. Still we should go on preaching, because in the course of preaching, at least one person will become a devotee, the preacher. He will at least remain a devotee. So at least one result is guaranteed now. So no preaching will go waste. So result guaranteed. So at least one result we will get. So that's why we should at least, to keep ourselves conscious of Krishna, to keep ourselves motivated in devotion, one should keep preaching. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj used to say, if no one comes to your program, simply preach to the walls. If no one comes to the program, simply speak to the walls and come back. But he never used to compromise, saying that no problem, if none is coming, you can close the program and stay at home. No. Even if none are coming, still we should go out and preach. So similarly, if none are becoming devotees even at our office, even after a lot of efforts, but still we should go on preaching, just like Prahallad Maharaj is doing, so that we can at least remain conscious and we can spiritualize the atmosphere around us. And at least people will understand that this person is a different person. And at least they will allow us to be Krishna conscious. Or else people will keep dragging us to you, Projaman, we have this office get together, please come. We are going on an outing, team building activities, please come. We are celebrating his birthday in the restaurant, come. In that way we keep on getting many invitations. And people keep giving something or the other. Aaj hamare birthday hai, please take this. And this way people keep giving also. But if you stick to your principles, initially people may kind of make fun of us, or people may look very differently at us. But eventually, if we stick to our principles, then those very people who are making fun of us will start respecting us. Will start respecting us, because people appreciate people who stand on their principles. Who stand on their principles. If they see us that we are shaking, then they will make more fun of us. Then they'll make more fun of us. So better stand strong on the principles that we are representing. So, and that will further be, that will further be possible when we keep preaching. When we keep preaching, then we are more conscious of what we are doing and what we are not doing. What we are doing or what we are not doing, because it becomes a social obligation on us that all the people are watching me, so let me follow at least what I am preaching. So at least by social obligation one will start preaching. Because it may appear that Prabhuji, this following principles by matter of social obligation or forcefully, what kind of bhakti it is. But Prabhupada says, if you don't feel like dancing but still dance, even Prabhupada says, even forcefully, because simply by dancing in front of the deities, that will reduce the burden upon you. And what burden will be reduced? The burden of material contamination will be reduced. And slowly and gradually one will develop that mood and desire to dance then. So similarly, Prabhupada also used to say, if you are not enthusiastic naturally, then act as if you are enthusiastic. If you are not naturally enthusiastic, then at least act as if you are enthusiastic. At least we can make a drama, no? The drama also will be helpful because we are making good drama. The drama is also helpful. So in that way, although we may be following principles out of social obligation, but still that is helpful. But somehow or other we are following, येन केन प्रकारेण मनः कृष्ण निवेशयेत. Somehow or other, one should fix his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord by hook or crook, in whichever way possible. So in that way, Prahallad Maharaj was constantly preaching, and with this we should learn from his example that we should, wherever we are in, whether be a student, whether we are working, we should do some preaching activities at our workplace. And how he used to preach, so we'll see what he is preaching. Sri Prahallad Vacha Kaumāramacharet prajño dharman bhagavatâniham dullabham manasham janma tadapi adrivam attadam. Prahallad Maharaj says, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life, one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. So Prahallad Maharaj said, Kaumaram acharet prajñah. Prajñah means intelligent people. Intelligent people. What do intelligent people do? They do intelligent things. And what is that intelligent thing that they are doing, that we are supposed to do? Prahallad Maharaj says, Kaumaram acharet dharman bhagavataniha. One is supposed to practice Bhagavad Dharma from a very tender age, as early as 5 years of age. Kaumaram means 5 years old. As early as 5 years, one has to start practicing Krishna consciousness. If you look at this way, then actually the age at which we have begun practicing Krishna consciousness is already late. We are already late to Krishna consciousness uh, because the older we grow, the difficult it becomes to accept Krishna consciousness. People at times, the other day when I was giving a session online, one educated Mataji was asking me, Prabhuji, if you do not have sufficient experience of the material world, then where from we will get impetus to practice Krishna consciousness? If we do not have sufficient experience of the material world, where from we are going to get the impetus to practice Krishna consciousness? Then I told that, see, experience is an expensive teacher. Experience is an expensive teacher. If you want to learn by experience, by the time you learn your lesson, it will be late for you to practice what you have learned. To practice what you have learned. That is why Srila Prabhupada talks about three kinds of three kinds of learners. The most intelligent are the ones who learn by hearing. The second are the ones who learn by seeing. And third are the ones who never learn at all. Even after hearing, even after seeing, they don't learn. So similarly, better we become the first class intelligent people. Because just as a thief, he hears, he gets to know that yes, if I rob anything, I'll be punished. So unnecessarily, why to get into this business? Better to do something else. So he gives up. The second kind of a thief, he thinks he does it. Even after telling him, he does it, and he is put in jail and is beaten up there. And then he realizes that I could have learned this lesson before, but better late than never. At least I should learn now. I should not rob hereafter. And the third kind of a thief, he robs, he is caught, he is put in jail and is beaten up. And later he thinks, last time technique was not proper. I was trying to enter from this side. Better I be careful next time. I will change the technique. So he keeps on changing the technique, but he is repeatedly caught and he is repeatedly beaten. So in this way, he repeatedly have to undergo the tribulations. Similarly, although people are being beaten up badly by Maya, and people literally cry, but yet they do not realize the reality. But they do not realize the reality. They are being beaten up. It is not that they are left. Rather, they are being caught and they are being beaten up. But still, people do not understand that why they are being beaten up. And that is what is intelligence. When an intelligent person would ask, why am I subject to suffering, even though I want to escape the suffering? I never asked for suffering, nor have I ever tried to put myself into suffering, but still suffering is coming upon me. Why is it so? This is an intelligent question. So, understanding this, an intelligent person would take to Krishna consciousness at a very early age. And now that we are already late, So at least now one should take it on a very serious note to practice Krishna consciousness with all sincerity. And here Prahallad Maharaj is saying, Dharman Bhagavataniha Durlabam Manusham Janma Tadapi Adruvam Artadham. Here Prahlad Maharaj did not say giving up all other engagements, but Prabhupada at times he gives purported translations. He gives purported translations wherein in the translation he gives some purport. So here Prabhupada is giving a purport in the translation itself. Prahlad Maharaj never said give up other engagements, but Prabhupada writes even at the cost of giving up all engagements. Even at the cost of giving up all engagements, one should practice devotional service. So this shows that no reason is good enough for us to defend our negligence to practice Krishna consciousness. No reason is good enough. Somebody can say, Prabhuji, I am busy with my family. Somebody can say, I am busy with my studies. Somebody can say, I am busy with my job. Somebody can say, my health is bad. Somebody can say something else. Somebody can have some other reasons. But no reason is good enough to defend our negligence to practice Krishna consciousness with sincerity. Because ultimately when after death, if you are asked by the Lord, why didn't you practice Krishna consciousness? You can't say कि मेरा पत्नी करने नहीं दिया. My wife didn't allow me to do it. You can't say it there, no. You can say it to a counselor. But you can't say it there. Because that is not a good enough reason. Good enough reason. And you cannot even say that, Bhagavan, I got busy with my job, so I couldn't do. Is it good enough reason? No. Because Krishna has already made it clear, no? Krishna has already made it clear. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. Even at the cost of any sort of dharma which I personally have spoken, even you can sacrifice those dharmas also. Even at the cost of those dharmas, you got to practice Krishna consciousness. Even at the cost of those dharmas, you got to practice Krishna consciousness. So you cannot quote any dharma, any so-called obligation as any so-called occupation or any so-called swadharma as an obligation or as a reason why you're not practicing Krishna consciousness. Because no duty is greater than or more important than Krishna consciousness. And that Bhagavatam also says, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma Yato Bhaktiradhokshaja. All others are dharma, but Krishna consciousness is Paro Dharma. And that's why Krishna is saying, Sarva Dharman Par. You can sacrifice dharma, but don't sacrifice Paradharma. But the problem that we do is, we sacrifice Paro Dharma for dharma. We sacrifice Paro Dharma for dharma. In the name of dharma, we sacrifice Paro Dharma. But Krishna says, no, you sacrifice dharma for Paro Dharma. That is why I am saying this Paro Dharma, no? Because this is ultimate religion, ultimate dharma. So the same thing Prabhupada is mentioning here, even at the cost of other dharmas, other duties, one should practice Krishna consciousness. One can, if need be, one can give up all the other duties. Although the world may say, point fingers at you saying that, how come you are becoming so irresponsible in giving up your duties? But let them say what they have to say, but we will do what we have to do. Mm. But we will do what we have to do. So in that way, one has to be determined enough to follow the instructions of the Lord. And why such great importance should be attributed to Krishna consciousness? Prahallad Maharaj says, Dullabham Manusham Janma. Durlabham. Because this is very, very rare. This human birth is very, very rare. It's very, very hard that a person gets human birth. And what is so great about this human birth? They said, Adruvam Arthadham. Arthadham means it is very, very meaningful. It's very, very meaningful. Other species of life are not as meaningful as human birth. They just pass time being driven by their instincts. You understand by instinct? Instincts means whatever they get in mind, they simply follow by that. If now they feel like eating, they won't see whether it is midnight or morning or what. They'll simply go eat. But human, he is conscious. अरे रात को क्या खाना? Midnight. He knows. I mean, he is conscious about what is to be done when and what not. But animal is not conscious like that. So, nor it has any goal in life. Nor it has any goal in life, whereas the human can understand a goal, can understand what is the goal of his life and lead a life which will help him to achieve the goal of his life. But what the goal of a dog is? Nothing. The dogs keep barking all around, thinking that they are going to protect their territory. They don't allow any other dog to enter their territory because they feel that they are the owners of their territory. Other trespassers will be prosecuted. Any trespassers will be prosecuted. They immediately start prosecuting. So, see, these dogs, they think that they are the proprietors or the protectors of that particular territory. But one fine day, when the dog chases a vehicle passing by, ultimately coming under the wheels of the vehicle and is crushed to death. Crushed to death. When it dies, none of the people staying in the territory, in that particular region, nobody cares to even look at who died. Who died? Nobody is bothered. So similarly, because the dog has made its mind that the goal of its life is to simply protect the territory. So similarly, people take up such sort of meaningless goals in life, and they keep on protecting their house, they keep on protecting their own family members and territory. But ultimately, when they are put to death, hardly any person cries for a day or two and then he is forgotten. Nobody knows where he has gone. Nothing. Dog is barking, somebody has come. So this way, they lead a meaningless lives. If if we are also simply concerned about protecting our own territories, protecting our own family, protecting our own homes and all, so it is as good as a dog's life. Is it as good as a dog's life? It is no better than that. So, so that's why Prahallad Maharaj is requesting his friends coming from demonic families. If you were to make your life meaningful, then practice Krishna consciousness from this tender age. Arthadham. Or else you'll be losing on this on the greatest prerogative that you have gotten in the form of human birth. And further moving, Prahallad Maharaj says, and this opportunity that you have got, this is not going to stay permanent, no. Adruvam, it is impermanent, it is temporary. You are going to lose this opportunity in some time. So better better you rush to begin to use this opportunity that you have got, because this opportunity is not going to stay longer, because this body is adruvam, it is temporary, it will be losing it in no time. So this way one should be very conscious and particular about this opportunity that we have got in the form of human birth. So in this way Prahallad Maharaj was speaking to and Prahallad Maharaj, for even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. And this is out of Prabhupada's purport. Prahallad Maharaj did not speak about this, but Prabhupada writes, even a slight amount of sincere devotional service will award you all perfection. So in that way, it doesn't mean that we simply have to do slight devotional service only. But it means that Prabhupada is trying to tell us about the potency of devotional service. The devotional service is so potent that even slight devotional service can also award us complete perfection. Complete perfection. If we are given with, because out in outside world, even after working so hard for hours and hours together and for days together, for years together, but yet people go nowhere close to perfection. Nowhere close to perfection. But here, when it comes to bhakti, even the slightest amount of effort that we put in Krishna consciousness will give us great results. At times, I sometimes think, when we used to study, at times there were days when we used to stay awake all night and study, no? Especially during the exams and all. To forcefully keep ourselves awake, we used to keep on drinking tea at every hour, chai. But even forcefully, we used to keep ourselves and read. And like this, many of us must have passed sleepless nights reading physics, chemistry, botany textbooks. I was thinking ki, ki, did we ever read Bhagavat like that? Did we ever read Bhagavat like that? Did we ever chant like that? Hardly any day. So just imagine the kind of hard work that we invested in our regular studies to simply small little exams here and there. And finally to get whatever job we are doing. Lot of hard work, lot of hard work went into it. In comparison to that, if I see my practice, I don't see that I'm putting in so much of effort into it. That means we are not sincere towards devotional service, at least to the extent that we are sincere towards our material life. Even such sincerity is not seen in devotional practice. Then if we are not sincere even at least to that extent, and we have a great lofty goal of going back to Godhead. Whenever we talk about nothing less than Golok Vrindavan. Even somebody talks about Vaikuntha, no Vaikuntha, Golok. Vaikuntha, we simply look down upon it. Vaikuntha, अरे Vaikuntha कौन जाता है? We look down upon Vaikuntha. So we have such high lofty goal like Golok Vrindavan. So simply having lofty goal is not enough. There should be efforts matching to that goal also, no? If not, we may aim high, but we may fall down. We are aiming high, but we may fall down because our efforts are not matching to the goal. So that's why at least that amount of sincerity that we have shown towards our material studies and material life and job, at least to that extent one should show towards Krishna consciousness. I mean, it becomes painful for me at times to see that very same person who used to work 12 hours every day at office. At times they become full-time devotee and simply after 5-6 hours of work they say, Prabhuji, and over. Prabhuji, I did my quota. There you used to work for 12 hours and here 6 hours gone, over. How come? So are we not at least since we are more sincere towards toward the money that we used to get in the job, and here in exchange of our service we get mercy of the Lord, we get Krishna Prema. Are we not so concerned about Krishna Prema? So in that way, one has to think and become more and more sincere in his practices. So ultimately in bhakti, one important thing that actually without which there is no question of advancement is honesty. Is honesty. If one is not utterly honest with at least with his own self, then forget about any Krishna consciousness or any advancement. And That is what is non-duplicitous nature. Niskapat vyavhar. So in that way, one should endeavor to advance in Krishna consciousness with utmost honesty, at least to himself and at least to his guru. At least two people he has to be honest with. The rest of the world we keep cheating. But these two people we should be honest with oneself and with guru. Good that if we are honest with others also. But nevertheless, at least with these two people. So that way, we should be utilizing this meaningful life, although temporary, because this will definitely, as Prabhupada says, this is one should make the best use of the bad bargain. Definitely this is a bad bargain. This body, no, full of problems. Full of problem. Every time you see there is some or the other pain. Sometimes head pain, sometimes stomach pain, sometimes leg pain, sometimes heart pain. Some or the other problem is always there. So this is a bad bargain, but we can make the best use of it. We can make the best use of it by utilizing whatever is at our disposal to serve Guru and Krishna. To serve Guru and Krishna. Because ultimately this acts as a sadhan to serve Krishna. If you were not to have this body, then how are we going to serve Krishna? So that's why in one sense this is actually helping us serve Krishna. So that's why we have to utilize this body to the fullest extent so that we can serve and please Guru and Krishna this way. So this is a very important shloka that Prahallad Maharaj speaks. I'll just take one more shloka then. यथा हि पुरुषस्येह विष्णो पादोपसर्पणम् यदेष सर्वभूतानां प्रियात्मेश्वर सुहृत्. Nice shloka. The human form of life affords one a chance to return home, back to Godhead. Therefore, every living entity, especially in the human form of life, must engage in devotional service to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. This devotional service is natural because Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the most beloved, the master of the soul, and the well-wisher of all other living beings. So as Prahallad Maharaj is saying, the human form of life affords us a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. Because in other forms of life, it is not possible to go to prepare oneself to go back to Godhead. Although there are some special cases in the form of Gajendra or something like that, or Bharat Maharaj when he was deer. So in that way, there were some special cases wherein people used to practice Krishna consciousness even though they were in different other species of life. But commonly speaking, this human form of life only affords us a chance to go back to Godhead. To go back to Godhead. So this is a great blessing upon us. This is a great blessing upon us. So everyone in this world who has gotten this great opportunity to take birth in the human form of life, that means they were given the ticket back to Godhead. Through this human body, we are all given a ticket back to Godhead. So if it is up to us to utilize the ticket and board the flight. But if we become ignorant, then we may tear apart the ticket and throw it in the dustbin. We may tear it apart and throw it in the dustbin. And many people usually are throwing their tickets away. Some people are throwing in home, some people are throwing in office, some people are throwing in here and there, some people are throwing it away. Throwing it away. But because many people do not even know that they are given the ticket. Many people don't even recognize that they have ticket back to Godhead. So, ignorantly they are throwing. But we being devotees and hearing so much and reading so much from Prabhupada, even after that, we become ignorant, neglectful about the ticket that is in our hands and misuse it. Then there will be no greater misfortune than this. That's why Prabhupada used to say, definitely unfortunate are the ones who couldn't come to Krishna consciousness. But even more unfortunate are the ones who, having got the opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness, do not practice it sincerely. They got the opportunity, but they are not practicing sincerely. So that is even great. Even they got the opportunity, but they are not utilizing this opportunity. That is even greater misfortune. So better check your pockets. You have a ticket in your pocket, and realize it and find out. Where the flight is and get into the flight. And how do we do that? Prabhupada says therefore every living entity, especially in the human form of life, must engage in devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord, Vishnu. Vishnu Padopasarpanam. So in that way, one should engage in service to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. By simply worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, one will gain access to the flight, the ticket for which he has got in the form of human birth. And Prabhupada further says, actually this practicing of devotional service is not an unnatural thing for us. It is a natural thing for us. It is very natural for all of us because Krishna being very close to our hearts, and he being our well-wishers, and he loving us so much, and we taking so much of service from him. So after all of this, it becomes very natural for us to love him. It becomes very natural for us to love him. When we become conscious of all of these things. Atmeshwara Suhrut. Suhrut means one who is a well-wisher. Suhrut means one who is a well-wisher. Well-wisher means who actually works hard for our well-being. He is always concerned about our well-being. Such a person is called Suhrut. Although Suhrut is a word which is used for friends, Actually, there are three such words. One is Mitra and Bandhu and Suhrat. Mitra, Bandhu and Suhrat. Suhrat is the best of all. Suhrat is the best of all because this Suhrat is one who is actually constantly meditating upon and constantly concerned about and constantly working for our well-being. Constantly working for our well-being. When we understand and recognize that Krishna is such a person, such a Suhrat for me, then how can anybody avoid serving Krishna? Because Radha Goswami Maharaj says that the more you understand how much Krishna loves you, the more naturally you will begin to love Krishna. The more you understand how much Krishna loves you, the more it becomes very natural for us to love Krishna. So that is why when we read Bhagavatam, when we read Bhagavad Gita, when we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is what we try to understand, how much Krishna loves me. How much Krishna loves me. Because the more you understand this fact through various past and through various statements by Krishna and all of this, then it becomes very natural and obvious for us to love Krishna. Because it is very natural for somebody to love somebody who is loving him. So that's how here Prabhupada Maharaj is using the word Atmeshwaraha Krishna. And that too for whom? Sarva Bhutanam Priyaha. He is Suhrat for Sarva Bhutana. He is Suhrat for everyone. Be it be an animal or a human or anybody, any living entity, Krishna is Suhrat to everyone. That way, Sarva Bhutanam Priya Atmeshwara Suhrat. So this way, this is one other important shloka. Now it is 8 o'clock. You will have to leave for your office and all. So I will finish it here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Any question or anything you may ask in this.
Regarding the honesty part, you have mentioned that we should be honest at least to self and to the Guru and to all rules as well. The honesty is in what practices?
Honesty means simply being what we actually are from within. Not trying to show off what we are not. Just for the sake of some name, fame, glory, people try to put up a show, trying to imitate something which they are actually not. And such sort of a artificial show is what is called dishonesty. Dishonesty. I mean, see, in other words, I mean, it doesn't mean that whatever we feel like doing from within, we start doing. Doesn't mean that. Non-duplicitous does not mean that whatever we feel like within, Prabhuji, I mean, I just want to keep my inside and outside same. So whatever I feel like, I start doing. Prabhuji, I feel like slapping this person, I go slap him. Why did you slap him? Because I felt so. I'm non-duplicitous, straightforward. And I slapped him. Prabhuji, I felt like eating pani puri on the table outside. So I went and ate it because I'm non-duplicitous, I'm straightforward. This person is simply in the name of being non-duplicitous, he is gratifying his senses. In the name of being non-duplicitous, this person is simply gratifying his senses and is further being duplicitous. And so non-duplicitous does not mean no sense control. One should try to control sense. Duplicity is something which is connected to the intentions and the purpose. Intention and purpose. Yes, although from within I am getting the desire to eat pani puri outside on the roadside, but still I try to control myself so that I do not engage in an activity which is not pleasing to Krishna. So this way I should try to control myself. And duplicity means that person also will not go eat pani puri. He will also control. But why does he control? Even after looking at pani puri, if I do not go ahead eat pani puri, then other devotees will understand how controlled I am. How controlled I am, they'll get to know my glory. So the activity is the same, but the purpose is different. So this is dishonesty. This person is trying to be duplicitous. Got it? So that
intention, what?
Okay. Anything else? Okay. So now you'll all have prasad. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock prasadam, and then so everybody will leave for their offices.
In the beginning, told that who is in office, so you have to preach. So at least we become one devotee. So, but practically, others will kind of sometimes avoid colleagues. They may avoid.
See, I mean, we do not become too fanatic, but at the same time, we should keep preaching. When we become too fanatic and too pushy, then people will try to avoid us. Will try to avoid us. And even if somebody like that avoids us, what is the loss? We are away from material association. Koi baat nahi, when you were disturbing me earlier, it is good that you are avoiding me. So that way, but still, because we being colleagues, we may have to interact with them for the sake of our duties at office. And that at least work. That is why they said at least one should maintain working relation with the people around him. Working relation. We should not be having any heart-to-heart relation with them. Heart-to-heart relation means when we speak on an emotional platform. When we speak on a very emotional platform, there very strong association happens, and if such association happens, then you will be gone. You will be gone. So with materialistic people, we should not go to that depth. At least, definitely to get to, because for the sake of work, we need to have some working relation, but very heart-to-heart relation or talking on a very emotional platform and sharing our heart Mm. And especially if somebody says what bad things are happening, what problems he had to face at base, he is sharing to somebody, his colleague in the company. That is worst. Mm. That is worst. Mm. Because that person is anyways going to tell, why the hell that you are staying there, better you come out. Mm. So that way it will be more problematic. So that way it is not advised to have very close relation, but at least one should have working relation wherein he can work peacefully at office.
You mentioned that there is no reason which can defend our Krishna consciousness. So but if we fall in that kind of situation where we are not able to remember Krishna,
Mm-mm.
in that situation, how we will be practicing Krishna consciousness?
Actually, I mean, that is what anukulasa sankalpam pratikulasa varjanam. That is accepting whatever is favorable to Krishna consciousness and rejecting those which are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. If something is very strongly, even after strenuous efforts, something is stopping you from being Krishna consciousness, then that itself is a signal that we should try to avoid it. Try to avoid it. Even after strenuous efforts, it's not possible to remember Krishna because of whatever situation we have got into. So better, because that means that is pratikul for Krishna consciousness, then varjanam. Then better we avoid that.
If we avoid, then our heart also hankers that maybe that would be a swadharma, and we lament that that particular person or anyone will not feel good.
See, that is the problem, that in the name of pleasing the worldly people, we have displeased Krishna for lifetimes together. So now again, the choice is in front of you. If you want to go with Krishna, or want to go with somebody else, who is your priority? Yes, in the name of pleasing somebody else, you are anyways displeasing Krishna. So this is what we have been doing all these lives. So if we continue to do it even in this life, then the situation is going to remain the same. So but at least now we make it a point that this life is for Krishna. Come what may, and this life is for Krishna. That way. Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.